Welcome to Sit Down with the Superintendent, presented by GCHS TV. Join us as we welcome Greenup County Superintendent Tracy Moracey to our roundtable discussion hosted by GCHS students. Mike's hot. And welcome into another edition of Sit Down with the Superintendent. I'm your host, James Collier, joined with Superintendent Tracy Moracey. And Tracy, it's almost hard to come indoors when you look outside with the beautiful weather. It's just discouraging because we know storms are coming. But it is such a beautiful day outside, and it's one of those things, if you can get out and do it safely, today's a great day to get out and enjoy the weather. Today is a very good day, and I will laugh that, first of all, we look like we're ready for spring. Because Mr. Collier and I did not plan this. No, this was totally not planned. We are coordinated today. A shade of pink is what we went with. This is the second time in a row we've done it. It is. I mean, usually it's pretty much a given that I'm going to be wearing black or something with school colors. Yes. I learned my lesson on not wearing green. Yeah, that was the first episode. She shows up in green, and she's like, oh, no, what are we going to do? I said, no problem. We can fix this. Everybody thinks green screen, but it's actually called chroma key. And it just happens to be the color that's in the background, but no big deal. We fixed it. Yeah, I think you made me blue that day or something. Yeah. So he has lots of talents and skills. He can fix me with whatever I show up in. He can't fix anything else about me, but he can at least fix the coloring. So I appreciate that. Yeah, it's beautiful outside. If you can get your kids outside today, don't tell the teachers I said this, but just put the NTI to the side and go outside, because it might be the only day they get to do that. Yeah, tomorrow's supposed to be cold and rainy. Friday, I think, are still giving some rain. Then some better conditions on Saturday, and then rain for the next 6 days. So yeah, and I'm moving. Oh, lucky you. Yeah, I'm moving. We get the keys Friday, and I don't know how that's going to work out in the rain. My worst move ever was going from my first apartment to my second apartment. We moved on New Year's Eve. It was 31 degrees and sleet. And that was an interesting afternoon. So did you just not pay the rent? No, it was the craziest. When we moved to Louisville, we went into a 9-month lease, and our 9 months ended on January 1st. So we didn't have a choice. We had to move. I was just thinking maybe you were in the middle of the night. No, bad timing. Yeah, I thought, okay, middle of the night, sneaking out, didn't pay the bill. It was just terrible timing on our part. We've got a lot of stuff today. We're going to talk about NTI. We're going to talk about COVID and kind of where we are, some updates and stuff. Today's going to be focused a lot around our students, and more importantly, our students that have made the commitment to continue on to the United States military. We have 3 of those students that are going to join us live today. And then some of the other ones that couldn't make it in today, we're going to go ahead and recognize their names. And if they can make it in a future episode, we'll have them on as well. A little bit later on as well, we're going to do our second installment of the Victory Garden. I was joined by Mr. Blevins this morning. We actually planted a tomato plant. So we'll have that, and we'll talk about the pickup. The first pickup for your plants comes up this Friday, and we'll have all that information for you as well. And then, it's one of the things we talked about. We've got a lot of things that we could talk about right now, Tracy, but it's so fluid, it's better to wait. So I think a lot of questions that many may thought we were going to talk about this week probably going to be pushed till next. Yes, we want to make sure. We're still getting a few more pieces of guidance in, and we are also communicating with the health department. I talked with Mr. Crum on my way in this morning on my car phone. I talked to him about some legalities and what we can and can't do, just double checking my thoughts and making sure. And we're also checking with the state road. We're checking with Sheriff's Department, making sure we're getting support on certain things. So we want to make sure we're making the very best decisions we can for safety for kids. And so just know that we are pausing for just a second on throwing out any more information that's definite, just so that we can get all of our stuff in one location for you. Yeah, and it's one of the things that we want to keep you updated as much as possible, but at the same time, we don't want to say something this Wednesday and totally reverse it next Wednesday and cause a lot of confusion. Yes. So it's one of the things, if we don't say something, it's not because we're trying to keep it. It's just we're trying to make certain that we bring you the most accurate version of the information that we have to pass along. Absolutely, absolutely. And we do appreciate everybody who's reached out with ideas and support. We're hearing you. We're hearing you. Without a doubt. Okay, guys, what we're going to do now is we're going to take our first break. When we come back, We will be joined by some members of the student body here for Greenham County High School. They are getting ready to make the transition over. We're doing that right after this.
I cannot hear Mr. Collier. Yeah, I can hear you now, Mr. Collier. So, well, I've been in RTC for 4 years, so just being around it for so long, having Captain and Master Gunny mentor me and just show me that there's very good qualities in Marines, and just having the like opportunities to go to places like Paris Island, uh, Okinawa, not Okinawa, but was Virginia, and just doing all this stuff, going there and just seeing all these different qualities of Marines just inspired me and just made me want to become one, just because I see to better my life and stuff.
Ryan, was there a certain thing that pulled you toward the Marine Corps? Did you have family that was connected to the Marine Corps, or was it just something where you had the experience here at school through the Marine Corps that took you that direction?
It was mostly Master Gunny. He's been one of my like mentors, and just going through high school, he's kept me intrigued in the program and just wanting to do it. And just with all the trips, I was just shown that like this is something I wanted to do and started to have a passion for and just had interest in.
When did you make that decision that you knew that after high school you were headed off to the Marines?
It was really not till like sophomore year that I knew, like, I didn't really know what I was going to do, but being in the program showed me like this would be a very good option, just because I didn't really think I was going to college, because I don't really like school at all. So just seeing that was a good opportunity and something that I would actually have a passion for, it really showed me that this is probably something that I'd really like.
Now, do you know where you're headed for basic training after you graduate high school?
I really, with the whole Corona thing and everything, I haven't really decided on my job, just because contracts are very small right now, but hopefully I'm going to be an MP and I turn it into a career.
I'm looking forward to seeing that hair go away too.
Yes, me too.
Well, Ryan, congratulations on your commitment and best of luck on your way through the United States Marine Corps.
Thank you.
So now we will transition over to our next individual that's joined us, as it'll be Alex Baker. And Alex as well, headed off to the United States Marine Corps. Alex, good afternoon. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Doing well. Thanks for joining us today. And again, kind of the same questions that I went through with Ryan. Just take me back through a little bit of the history that led you to being a member of the United States Marine Corps.
Well, I just want a challenge. I've always struggled, keeping in shape, and I know they're going to help me out with that. Plus, I want to be set for life. It's kind of great retirement if you stay in, stuff like that.
No, wait, are you saying that teachers don't have good retirement plans? Is that what you're saying here?
I just don't think I could handle the kids.
When did you start as a member of the junior ROTC here at Greenup County High School, and was that the decision that kind of led you toward, I want to do this for real when I graduate high school?
Yeah, mainly I started freshman year. I've always been around two Marines. Another thing, I just wanted to show my uncles up who were both Army.
So you have a history of military in your family?
Yeah, both my uncles were in the military, Army.
Okay.
Just kind of led me to military anyways.
Now, is there a specific thing in the Marines that you want to specialize in once you get through basic?
Yeah, at the moment my contract is for aviation electronics technician.
Now, that's not an in-flight repair technician, right?
I don't believe so. Hope not.
We may as well say, if so, we could probably use you to help us figure out this Corona stuff as we're kind of building the plane as we fly it. I know that Ryan said the same thing. The kind of the ideas of where you're headed still up in the air, but do you have any ideas of where you could be going after you get toward basic?
After basic, I believe my job schooling, I'm going to be in the Pensacola in Florida. After that, who knows where it'll take me.
Who knows where. Well, my friend, thank you so much. Congratulations, and thank you for your commitment to the United States Marine Corps. All right, we have one more that will join us as we make the rotation here. As Miss Hannah Rice steps in. Hannah, thanks for joining us this afternoon, and congratulations on your commitment as well.
Thank you.
Now, I have to go straight to the family history here. This is kind of an easy one for you. Was Dad giving you any push a little bit to kind of get you on the track toward the Marines?
No, actually, at first I was thinking I was going to join the Air Force because I was thinking about something medical. But then finally I came to my senses and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go all the way Marine Corps and make my dad proud of me.
So now, are you planning on, after you get out of basic, are you going to the medical direction through the Marine Corps? Is that your plans?
There is no medical for the Marines, so I'm going to be doing logistics.
Okay. Now, what all does logistics entail through the Marine Corps?
They just do like a bunch of planning, like learning how to get supplies to troops and just, yeah, that's all I can really explain.
At what point in your life did you know that you were probably going to enlist in the military? Was it at a younger age, or was it after you got into the high school and really started to kind of get into the junior corps yourself, following through your father's footsteps?
It was more like in high school where it kind of hit me that I wanted to join the military. And middle school, I was like, maybe I should be a teacher or something. And then after that, I was like, no, military is where it's at.
Now, what? This is a second out of 3 people that said they don't want to do the teaching side of things. Have we done something wrong here?
No, I love everything about teaching. I just think the military has more benefits.
I got you. Just a little inside joke there. Hannah, what's the one thing that you like the most about the military experience that you've had so far and that you look forward to it as a career?
I like the traveling and how everybody's just like one big old family. Like everybody's there for each other.
Well, Hannah, congratulations on your decision to enlist. Best of luck to you, and we certainly look forward to hearing about your endeavors as well as everybody's endeavors down the road.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. Thank you. Well, and we have a few others that we want to recognize today that we could not get in studio or get a live broadcast with, but we will try to do this in a future broadcast that we have. But also with the Marine Corps, Justin Virgin, Elijah Weisfall, Gavin Mason, and Madison Ruggles, and with the National Guard, Ethan Steger. So congratulations to all of those students, and we certainly look forward to hearing about their endeavors down the road and seeing what they can do with the United States military forces. All right, we're going to take a break. We come back, we'll bring Tracy back on. We've got Mr. Blevins and our Victory Garden segment. We'll talk about that. We put a tomato down this morning, and we'll keep an eye on it as we go through each week and see how it grows. We'll do that when we return right after this here on Sit Down with the Superintendent. And welcome back to Sit Down with the Superintendent, James Collier and Tracy Brace. Now here's my question. Let's see how well we have Tracy. Yeah, she just did it. She had her microphone turned off, but I didn't tell her. I was going to see if she remembered.
I almost forgot. I was reading to see if anybody had posted something I needed to answer, and I was working.
Yeah, she was diligent to it. Real quick, a couple of comments coming in off the live chat from Eugene Grace saying good luck to all of these fine young teenagers, and Mr. Fletcher here at the high school, good luck to each of you. We were talking there in the break. Very well-spoken individuals, and they've got a bright future ahead of them for sure.
They were very well-spoken. I'm impressed, and I'm excited to see if we can get the others in as well. But thank you for organizing that, and thank you to Captain Rice and Master Guns. I know that you worked behind the scenes to make sure that we get these fine folks in, but we really want to honor them because they are doing the ultimate dedication to the country and making us very proud with their decisions.
Well, Captain Rice contacted me several weeks back, and when it appeared that the coronavirus was going to really interrupt a lot of the stuff, and he said, is there a way that we can honor these kids? And I said, absolutely. I said, I just have to figure the technicalities out. Mm-hmm. That's where Philip Coffey comes in. And again,
yes,
Philip digs into his basement and pulls out the equipment that we needed to make everything happen. The funny thing, I actually contacted support for the program that we use to do everything that we're doing, and they said, it's not possible. I emailed them back and I said, yes, it is, and here's how you do it. Contact me if you need the details, and we'll talk about the price.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so they've got that in the back burner.
They should send us. They should send you some money for that for the program, right?
Well, absolutely.
Yes.
Don't tell us that it's not possible.
Yeah, that's the one thing I was laughing because behind the scenes with my mic off, whenever you would ask questions about if they were looking at the educational route, and then they would immediately say no.
No.
Yeah. There's no pay in that, and especially it's just we will overcome without major funding.
Exactly, so, and pray some more that our pension will still be there when we get to that point.
Yeah.
But that's for another day.
We're not going to let you retire anyway.
No.
It'll be fine.
Well, I don't know that I ever will get to retire.
No.
I'm like
kind of the same way
already, so
yeah.
I feel like it at least.
Yeah. I think they're kind of stuck with me for a little while.
Well, that's not a bad thing, okay?
Well,
there's worse.
Opinions are out there.
Yeah, it is. Everybody has one.
Yes.
Let's transition over to a different thing that we have going on. As Mr. Blevins and I, we took some time out this morning to stop by the greenhouse. Our Victory Garden is going on, and we're getting ready to start putting things into the ground. So Mr. Blevins and I this morning talked about some pepper plants, some tomato plants, got you ready for the upcoming pickup for your plants, and kind of got you a little bit of information for your gardening techniques. Here that is. All right, so last week we talked about the Victory Gardens and starting to do all the gardening, and as you can tell, we got beautiful sunshine out, joined with Mr. Blevins, and it's time to start thinking about putting things into the ground, and I think it's some of the stuff we're going to talk about here today.
Absolutely. Right now is a great time to start getting things prepared for your gardens, and actually tomorrow we're going to be giving away some plants here for students and their families at the high school during the lunchtime, the lunch pickups, also at the middle schools and Argolite Elementary School. And so right now, some things to be thinking about is what are you going to put your garden in. For some people, they might do things in a container like this on a back porch or patio or something like that if you don't have a lot of space. You may be doing it in a raised bed. Your family may put out a large garden. And so just to kind of go over some basics of what you need to know. First is when do you plant? So right now is a good time to plant. It's a little bit early for some things because you got to keep in mind, but we're still probably going to have some frosty mornings.
Yeah, we actually have a chance of maybe getting some cooler temperatures later on the week.
Right, and so and it's fine if you do go ahead and plant stuff now. You just got to keep in mind and watch for those mornings and cover those plants up. And so one of the safest ways you can do it is keep the plants maybe in until you're ready. If you are going to put it out in a raised bed or a garden, keep the plants in your garage or a carport or something like that until we're in that time frame where you don't have to worry about frost anymore. Or if you're going to plant it in a container, you can just take the container in the garage, and that's no problem.
And one thing about a container, if you don't have a container such as this, I know this is where I started my gardening from, 5-gallon buckets work perfect. But there are a few things that you have to consider about your container, whether it's a container like this or a 5-gallon bucket. The drainage is the biggest key.
Right. You have to, if you use a 5-gallon bucket, you're going to need to put holes in the bottom of it because you don't want that soil to hold water. What will happen is if it becomes waterlogged, those roots will actually rot. So they need water, but at the same time, that soil needs to be able to drain out. So that's why pots have the holes in the bottom of them. But like you said, 5-gallon buckets work fine. You just have to take a drill or cut holes in the bottom of them.
It makes it easy too, like you said, if you're worried about frost, just pick them up, take them inside, set them in the house, in the garage, and you can take care of those plants. Okay, so we've got a couple of plants here. Look, we got a pepper plant and some tomato plants that you're going to show us how to plant these properly into our containers.
Right, so if we're going to plant this tomato plant in here, the first thing, if you're going to use a container, is make sure you get one that's big enough. Tomatoes, once they start growing, they take up a lot of room, and you're going to have to either have a stake or some way of binding them up, or else they're just going to fall over the place and create some issues. So you want a pot that's pretty good size, and when you get these, you're going to take them out and you want to carefully make sure that you get the entire root ball. You want as much root left on there as possible. If you are going to do a container, I recommend if you have it available, go get a bag of agricultural lime, the powdered lime. Put about a cup full of that in the bottom of your pot before you put the soil on top. And what that does is that adds calcium into the soil. Tomatoes require a lot of calcium, and they will actually get a condition called blossom end rot if there's not enough calcium in the soil, and you'll get black spots on the end of the tomatoes. But you'll just go ahead and you'll want to bury this down all the way so all those roots are completely covered. You don't want to compact the soil too much. You want it to be so it's supported, it's not flopping over. But if you compact the soil too much, it makes it hard for those roots to grow and expand, and makes it hard for water to get in. But it's very simple. You want at least probably the bottom half of that plant completely in the ground. So
now a container this size, would we want to put another plant in here, or we stay with just the one plant per container because of the type of tomato that you have?
I would, with the tomato, I'd probably only go one plant for this size container. If you had a bigger container, you could probably do 2, maybe 3. But they take up a lot of space. Pepper plants don't take up quite as much space. You could probably cheat it a little bit. You could get 2 pepper plants in this one. But again, they can get pretty big too. They're just not as much of a problem as tomatoes are.
Now, we talked about tomatoes, and one of the big things, obviously, once it starts to produce the fruit, it becomes weight bearing, and then you have to start supporting it. What's some things that you recommend to be able to support the plant, and when do we need to add that to the plant to make certain that it doesn't break?
Well, there's a bunch of different ways you can do that. There's tomato cages you can buy. You can take wooden sticks, tobacco sticks, poles, metal rods,
just about anything that won't bend,
and put it in the ground or the soil with it. You can also even lean it up against, if you have like a lattice or some type of a woven metal fence, and let it climb up the fence. But you're going to want to do that when it gets about a foot tall. Is when you want to start thinking about that, because up until that point it can support itself pretty well. Once it starts getting a little bit taller than that, you're going to have it start leaning over. And so if you're going to use something like a tobacco stick or metal pole, I recommend using some kind of a string. You want something that will hold up to getting wet. Hay string, the plastic hay string's ideal. And so what you'll do is you'll just tie not a real tight knot, but you don't want to cut into the plant, but you want to keep it tight to that pole. And so every 6 to 8 inches as the plant grows, you'll add an additional tie on there. If you're using something like a tomato cage, they're pretty well, you put them over top of the plant when it's small, and it's a done deal from the get-go. So just really just your preference and what you have available.
And the most important thing on the stake is a lot of people say, well, how far in the ground should I go? You can't go too deep. That's the most important thing. You can go too shallow. You cannot go too deep.
Right. Yeah, you don't want to. You're going to get a lot of weight on there, especially when the plants are wet, and have a lot of tomatoes on them. So, I would recommend at the least a foot, but really you probably want 16, 18, 20 inches of that in the ground, and that might be difficult to do with. In a container, but one thing you can do if you have a container is you can put your rod or your pole or whatever you're using in the container, and then tie the end of that up to something. So maybe off the corner of your garage, on a barn, edge of your porch, or you can even lean that against a building or a structure, and that way it kind of helps support it and keep it from tipping over. So they don't have to be 100% straight. You can vine them leaning, and you just have to tie it up accordingly. So.
We've got a lot of pepper plants and some tomato plants here. These are the plants that the people will be able to pick up in the pickup when they come in to start working on their gardens. And again, if we run out, there are plenty of greenhouses around the area, stores that do have the plants that you can pick those up there.
Absolutely.
And add. And again, those pickups this Friday, May 1st, from 11:30 to 12:30, and there will be at the 4 pickup locations where you also pick up food. And again, if you don't get a chance to get out there, we may have, if we have plants left over, we'll do it at another date. And we're going to keep kind of a weekly segment we're going to do with this. We'll talk about taking care of your garden, how to put stuff out, when to put things out, and of course, hopefully Mr. Blevins will hang on to that container there, and we'll kind of see how our tomato plant's doing.
I mean, are we going to make something with it when we finish the... Like, I'm thinking some nice bruschetta, tomato salad.
That's all you. The only thing I do with tomato, I do 2 things with tomatoes: salsa, or just a big slice right on a hamburger.
A spicy salsa sounds good. I've got a good recipe for that, and I'm also a big fresh mozzarella and tomato with some vinegar. Very good.
Now, the only other thing that I will say that I enjoy tomatoes with, a caprese salad.
It is that.
Yeah,
it's
we
like
had that up in New York City, and the first time I looked at it, I was like, oh my gosh, this thing looks awesome. No, it's amazing.
You have seen my last name, so it is Italian. So a caprese salad I'm all in on that too.
Yeah, my grandmother, she came back from World War II with my grandfather, and she's from Italy, and so I have the Italian taste, and it's amazing. So.
I married into it, but it was easy. It's easy to marry into.
It's easy to
so
marry
good.
into food.
If you like carbs, you can marry an Italian.
Absolutely. So. Tracy, let's talk about some NTI stuff. Next round of NTI work. We're starting to bear down toward the end of the tunnel of the school year. May 14th, our last day for students. Next round of NTI pickup is going to be when?
Okay, so we are doing it a little bit differently. Usually we do a district-wide, everybody picks up same time, same location, try to make it easier. We have so many different needs at each school. We went with a little bit more autonomy. So each school, you're going to have scheduled times. They'll post on their social media what day they're going to do each thing. So you have things such as gathering your belongings, the actual turning in of work, the picking up of work if you were still doing packets. Some are working on awards and getting those to you because we still want to honor your students. There are some transition activities that both elementary and middle school folks are working on. And so because of the variety of grade levels and needs, we want to be autonomous about it and have each school make their own process. So for instance, we had said, May 1st for our next NTI pack-up. We are changing that now, and we are looking at just letting each school decide. And as I spoke with principals, I think most of them are beginning that on May 4th, which is Monday, which is the normal routine. So the next round should be around May 4th for most of you, just because we've established that routine, we want to keep it. So the May 1st actually is more about the vegetable plants. I've got my handy dandy phone here and I'm reading off of it too, and a screen, and it says that it will be a tomato, pepper, cabbage, limit 3 pack per family until they run out, okay? And seed packet pickup that has directions included. May 1st, 11:30 to 12:30, all 4 distribution sites, which I know you guys just said that, but I just want to repeat, all distribution sites. And then, sneak over and get a homemade meal as well around the corner. And then we have a cap and gown pickup that we have to worry about too. So like I said, every grade level has something going on that their teacher needs to get to them. So it might be whether or not you have to clean out a desk or a cubby versus a locker. So we're trying to allow them to specialize. So they will be posting all that information on their social media. I think every school has a Facebook page, they have a regular web page, and then they can send things via school messenger. Some have Twitter as well. So they're working on dates. They will post things as they go. And then we'll also work on how to collect Chromebooks that we have loaned out, because we will need those back so that we can use them again next school year.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And one thing to note, as a student, if you know that you have left something in a teacher's classroom, connect with that teacher individually. Mm-hmm. We have started closing our classrooms down, and as we start gathering this stuff, rather than just putting it in one large collection, hodgepodge of lost and found, if we know that that's yours, we can tag it. So when you come into your school, we can get that information and that stuff back to you.
Yes, and we don't want to leave anybody's items here. If you cared enough to actually bring it to school, it probably meant something to you. So we want to make sure we get it back to you. And some schools are doing some different strategies on that to ensure kids are getting their items. So again, it's another autonomous process. Depends on the size of the school and the age group.
Absolutely.
Really.
This is more for the seniors.
Mm-hmm.
I saw an email from our librarian, Ms. Hensley.
Okay.
Library books. They are going to build a box to put out in front of the school when you come into the school to drop stuff off. If you have a library book that you need to return in, you can simply stop in, drop it in that box. Seniors, you need to get any books, any fines taken care of, because that will hold up graduation, getting your diploma before you get those fines taken care of.
We do have one bit of good news on that. We've discussed it, and every year there's that surprise food bill that you did not remember. Your child racked up extras over the years, and I've heard our finance department talking, and if that is a hardship, we'll help you out with that, because we want our kids to eat. That's a big deal to us. Now the other stuff, if you have technology and books, we need you to return those, and that's something that your diploma would get held up on. But as far as food, we're not going there.
Yeah, so check underneath the beds, the backpacks, trunks of the cars, back seats, anything to where if you have something that's showing that's missing, get that stuff back over to your schools, and especially you seniors. If you want that diploma, you got to get all that stuff turned back in.
Yes.
Last thing for today, virtual graduation. I think we've got the pieces in place, and there's some more details we'll roll out once everything's it's fermented up. But right now we are going with a virtual graduation. It's going to be packaged together as one large video that will air on May 22nd at 7 o'clock, when we were set to have our actual graduation here at Greenup County High School. However, if things throughout the summer lessen and we can go back into some form of normality of gathering, we do have plans of trying to take care of something for our seniors there as well. Yes.
I promised that I would work on a senior week of some sort. So if we get things opened back up, we can have an invite of everybody back in and do something special for the seniors on the grounds. But we do want to provide some closure to students and get their diplomas to them. As you just saw, we have some military kids that are getting ready to head out. We want to make sure we honor them. We have some that are going to move, and just getting everyone back together for an organized event is very difficult. They gave us some more advisement on what a drive-in graduation would look like. And just to help you guys understand why we went virtual instead of drive-in, no one would be permitted to get out of their cars for a drive-in graduation. A drive-in graduation would simply be kind of how we do food pickup, where you drive by, roll down your window, and get your diploma, and then go park and listen to the speakers. We don't know that you want to listen to us that bad. So we really wanted to make it something where that at least the kids could be involved in it and be seen and actually see their faces. So we think the video will be something that they can keep and use. And then again, I do understand it's a big moment for kids. However, we're going to look at if there's something that we can offer in July. I'm all in. I really do want to celebrate our kids.
Absolutely. I know I was talking, I came in Monday to shut down my classroom, and I was talking with Ms. Corsetti over at the board office. I said, it seems so awkward closing down my room because every year I always have a group of seniors that like to come in and help and do stuff, and
It's
it was
harder.
just me.
It's harder now,
it is.
usually.
It's not that it wasn't so much as it was harder. It was just that's something every year since I've been at Greenup County High School that I've always had is my seniors like to come and hang out, and it's something I missed this year.
Yeah, we don't just teach the kids. We really do build relationships with them, and that's one of the things I cannot say enough about at Greenup County. Our kids have that one teacher somewhere in the building that they know they can go to. And I know that that's been really difficult on our seniors to not get to do that little bit of closure and saying goodbye. So we do understand. We really do, and it's not just us not wanting to listen. We're trying to put safety first. And I did speak with the health department and double check us, and this is what we have.
It was so funny. I was out actually fishing with a friend last night at Grayson, and here comes a boat with 3 guys on it, and I start looking at it, and I was like, I know that jersey awful well. It was my original seniors from the bass team 3 years ago,
Oh.
and they were up fishing, and it was the first time I'd seen a couple of them. So, they still call me Mr. Collier too, by the way.
Yes,
And I
yes.
was like, guys, we're past that point.
I have former students from back when I taught, and I'm friends with their parents because we all taught together or something, and they'll still send me their college graduation cards and different things, and it'll say Mrs. Moracy, and if you see them at the store, Mrs. Moracy, and it just makes me laugh because to me they're by their first name. It's hard to.
It's hard to get away from.
I feel like I'm old when they do that to me.
Last year, I actually ran into my 2nd grade teacher at a soccer game when they were playing, and
Did you call her by Mrs.?
I called her Miss Wilcox. Yeah, I could never call her by her first name. And that was in 2nd grade. So.
Good for you, though.
Yeah,
Good for you.
She was
Respect.
she was a teacher that made an impact in my life, especially through the education side. I'll never forget her. So.
Yeah. There's always the one.
Always the ones.
Caps and gowns, before I forget, May
Yes.
6th, and you will also get to pick up a yard card with that'll go in your yard. So caps and gowns, cords, all of that will be available at that exact same time. And I'm thinking I'm seeing 1 to 3
Okay.
on that. So let
again-
me double check this handy dandy. Yeah, between 1 and 3.
Okay, and we'll have a lot of updates next Wednesday with a lot more stuff, and we'll get back to more of a regular show than what we had. We had a lot of special things today to get in, and that's kind of the direction we went. The one thing I want to point out too on the graduation, there's a lot of moving pieces that's going to be happening. We need your cooperation to make this happen. It may not be ideal for everyone. It may not be perfect in every world, but it's the best that we can come up with that keeps everyone safe and gives our seniors that opportunity to walk across the stage and get their diplomas.
Agree. And we, I've said all along, we want to feed, clothe, protect, nurture first. And we're keeping with that comment.
Very good. Real quickly, there's the email account. If you have questions for us, send it to the email that you see there on your screen. There's about 6 or 7 eyeballs that see that. If it's an immediate concern, we respond back to it immediately. If not, we put it on the list of questions and we bring it into the show each and every week. So we will have that available. Next week, we've got a couple of questions that we had from last week's show that we kind of backburnered. They wasn't pressing of any kinds of means. So if you send us questions, we're not ignoring you. We have them.
We have them.
We just got to hang on to them for another week. Tracy, enjoy moving. I know that's a thing that everyone enjoys doing more than anything in their life. And more than that, moving in rain. I mean, the only thing worse is moving in snow, and I can say that I've been there.
Well, and moving after years and years in the same home with 2 kids, it's you find a lot of things.
Yeah.
So it's okay. We're enjoying it.
Well, that's good. Now,
Yeah.
now the question is, have you found anything that you've forgotten about for quite some time?
I did, and it's kind of precious. When I first was going to have Maria, my oldest, my student class actually gave me a baby shower because we were so excited. And so I found that one of the activities they did is they each wrote Maria a letter, a card, and told her about what it was like to be in class during that time and me as their teacher. And I came across it and I thought, oh, I forgot I saved this. So she spent a little bit of time last week reading all about her mother's third grade class.
Neat.
And she was really intrigued by it. So good for them.
Well, enjoy moving, be safe out there, and we'll talk to you next week.
Okay, thanks.
For everyone here at Greenup County Schools, I'm James Carr. Have a great afternoon, everyone.